Hey, what's up guys? This is Anthony from Anthony's Customs, and for this review we are looking at the Ultra Act ZAMSHER figure, which if you saw my unboxing video, you know that I was really excited to review this guy because he's got all the colors I like and he's got kind of like a samurai vibe going, so it's right in my wheelhouse. And if you haven't seen my unboxing video, you should start watching my unboxing videos. People seem to like them, and they're pretty fun to make, pretty fun to watch. You guys might want to check it out. Anyway, this guy looks cool. It's a metallic blue samurai type guy with a big red thing on his head, so I thought we couldn't go wrong. And while we didn't really go wrong, he's not as good as I was hoping, so let's just get him off the stand so we can take a closer look. This guy stands just about I'll say 6¼ inches because that takes it to right about here. And I think that's a fair judgment because this thing can stick up a little bit higher, but we don't need to go by that. And that makes him just about 16 centimeters. So not the biggest figure in the world, not the smallest. Now here's the thing. This guy is a 10-year-old figure, so he's not the most advanced when it comes to engineering, but it's still decent enough. So some of these things that are not great about the figure, I'm going to give him some slack just because, like I said, it's a pretty old figure. Now before we get into it though, let's look at the accessories. We have the 2 fist hands, we have 1 gripping hand, 1 kind of style posed hand, 2 relaxed hands, and then 2 open hands. We have 2 interchangeable hair pieces. They're not really hair, but you get the idea. We have the one that's really windswept and big, and then the one that just kind of hangs there. And then lastly, we have the katana and the scabbard, which are nicely detailed. And that does it for the accessories, so definitely not the most in the world. As far as the paint job goes, it's pretty clean. All of the metallic blue is very nice and metallic, almost pearly, but not quite. Doesn't have that kind of clear on top to make it pearly, but it looks nice. We have a lot of nice gold line work throughout a lot of the armor. You can see even on the middle of the torso there, it looks pretty clean. And then as we move up through the chest and the shoulders and even the helmet, we have a lot of nice detail work, so that's pretty cool. The only thing that really keeps nagging at me is the red on this guy. It's just very weird looking. It's very flat, and it looks like it could use a few more coats. As you can see, like right around here, it doesn't look great. And then down here on the legs, it kind of detracts from the rest of the figure. It doesn't really match. Doesn't look quite right. I'm not sure what it is, but it's just not great. Sculpt work is nice. All of the detail stuff is sculpted in there, and it's nice and clean, so it's a pretty sharp sculpt, so I like that. As far as articulation goes, it's not bad. It's okay. The head is on a hinge only at the top of the neck, as far as I can tell. It's only a hinge, and then the neck is on a ball peg, which actually works well enough. It's not the best in the world, other than the hinge is a little floppy, but it'll get the job done, so that's okay. For the shoulders, we have a ball peg where the arm connects to the body, and then a ball hinge on top of that. It's pretty limited, though. You can't go any higher than that far, so it's a little bit limited, I guess. And then the shoulder pads. Now here's what bugs me about this figure more than anything is the way the shoulder pads are connected. It has this huge hinge mechanism in there which makes them stick out really far. Now maybe that's accurate to whatever it's from. I'm not familiar with ZAMSHER. I think it's an Ultraman character, right? I think. Anyway, they just stick out really far and it looks weird. Maybe it's accurate. If it is, then ignore all of that. But if it's not accurate, then it's just a weird choice. But the way the hinge works is odd because it's a hinge, and then we have a swivel on top of the hinge, which doesn't allow it to move with the arm at all. The swivel's in a weird location, so I'm not sure why they did that. It's just odd. Then you have your standard bicep swivel, standard double jointed elbow, which gives you not the best range, but probably good enough. It's okay. And then you have your ball hinge for the wrist, which is standard. For the torso, we have just a ball peg, but it works pretty well. He leans back a little bit, leans forward a little bit, leans side to side kind of a lot, and then it does rotate around some. And then for the lower torso, we have a ball peg, which lets him lean a whole lot more, forward and back, and side to side, and you can rotate it around. So that's not too bad at all. All of his little skirt pieces have a ball peg on them, so they can move a little bit, just not a whole lot. For the hips, we have the hinged ball peg. So it's in there, it just doesn't really function that well. Like I said, it's not a bad figure, but it is a little bit older, so some of the things aren't quite as refined as we're used to nowadays. But the leg does move pretty far forward, not so far out to the side, and you have your thigh swivel. For the knee, it's a double jointed knee, which actually works surprisingly well. We get decent range out of it, and it looks alright. They did a good job with that, until you get down here. It's a little hollow and gappy, but it's not terrible, so that's okay. And then for the ankle, we have one of my favorite types of ankles because it's functional and it looks good. You have your hinge that lets the foot move forward and back, so that's really nice. And then you have a swivel to allow for a really nice ankle rocker. I love that. It's very similar to the Kinnikuman figures, so that's really good. And then lastly, we have a toe hinge, which is kind of like just a ball peg. It's a little weird. It goes up and down a little bit, but then you can also rotate it, and it's just kind of not that functional. So I'm not sure why it's on there, but it is, so I guess it's not a problem. I don't know. Just kind of ignore it. So the figure is not bad, it's just not good. I think what really bugs me though is the red and the shoulder pads. The rest of it's pretty solid and I like it, and I think if you guys are familiar with the character, or like it, or whatever it is that you would have to make you want to buy it, then go ahead and buy it. It's not bad at all. It won't disappoint you. It just won't really get you going if you're not already into the character, which is my situation, unfortunately. So I like it, but I don't like it that much. So thanks for watching, guys. Make sure you give the video a thumbs up if you haven't already. I would appreciate that. It helps out a whole bunch. And make sure you subscribe if you haven't, because I have new videos up every single day. We talk about action figures, TV shows, movies, video games, all kinds of fun stuff. So make sure you come back for that. And in the meantime, keep collecting.